Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. So glad to have you hopping on already. Glad to see that you guys are still there. So that's great. Still kicking, right? We're still moving. We're still plugging along. We're going to keep moving and day by day get our lives in order and make things better, right, you guys? So, welcome, welcome. So glad that you guys are coming on. I wanted to welcome to you to Happy Crappy Hour, where we're going to talk about our happies and crappies, good things and bad things, right, that happened to us this week. The good things are things we want to keep doing, and the bad things we learn from and hopefully eliminate from our lives, right? Stop doing those things. So this week, gosh, like I was saying last week, my crappies are getting to be less and less, other than the crappies that are happening out, in the real world, uh, in the public square, you guys. But slowly the truth is coming out. So God bless, and thank God for that. You guys, this week has been, I guess, a pretty good week, pretty normal, pretty average. Seems like we're easing back into kind of normal life, I suppose. I don't know. But people are seeming to behave and react better towards one another. I'm hoping so. Maybe I'm not paying attention to the junk news, the horrible news, and trying to focus on the positive out there. So I would suggest you do the same. When things get to be too dark and too negative, you have to unplug from that. And I'm not saying unplug from reality, but you need to escape for a while into a place that's good and positive and optimistic to refuel, and everybody needs that. So that is a happy this week I would recommend to you guys. I've had friends who've gone back to visiting family, even though some of their family is still fearful. You can't help that. You can't stop people from being fearful or anxious or negative, but hopefully your positivity will bring them out of that mode. And that has happened again and again with my friends and my family that I'm hearing from. So I'm hoping that's the same for you guys. Now, as far as, I don't want to, it's so hard not to talk about what's going on out there, but lies are being revealed. So thank goodness for that. Last video I mentioned this video that I would recommend. And I tried to post it 6 times, and all 6 times it was censored immediately, like within 12 seconds, it was censored. Sometimes it was within 2, 3 seconds. So I had to encrypt it, I had to change the letters to symbols. I used 3 different kinds of symbols. I skipped lines. I broke it up into multiple lines, probably at least 15 lines, which is ridiculous, right? If you want to tell the truth or say something out there, it seems like you can say almost anything vulgar, which is sickening to me, right? You can say anything vulgar or do anything vulgar, and that's fine. But when you question the narrative, when you question the mainstream narrative, and this just simply reminds me of what's going on with narcissists. When you question their narrative, they will not have it, right? It's impossible. They refuse to allow you to break their narrative. And today's topic has to do somewhat with that. It's about when a narcissist is caught in a lie. What do, right? When you break their narrative, when you expose their narrative as a lie, what do they do? And what's happening in mainstream right now in the public square completely reminds me of what happens when you do this with a narcissist. And it's very closely similar. It's so similar. You can't say like an organization is narcissistic, but you can say they're deceptive and they're pushing an agenda or they're pushing fraud, and that's what narcissists do. They push their own fraud, they push their own agenda, they ruin those along their path and have no conscience about it. And that is what happens also in the mainstream right now. We have to be, we have to keep our sanity throughout all of this. And this is why I want to keep doing this channel. There have been times where I'm like, okay, I'm done talking about narcissists, you guys. So tired talking about narcissists. But what I'm seeing happening in the public square reminds me of the things we deal with on personal levels with narcissists. Now we're dealing it on public levels and dealing with it with strangers, and who are deluded by narcissists or deluded by the fraud or the deception that's out there, put out there by egomaniac psychopaths, which of course includes narcissism, because they're psychopaths. All psychopaths are narcissistic, and all sociopaths are narcissistic, right? Not all narcissists are psychopaths. Not all narcissists are sociopaths. But we know that we have to keep our own sanity when they try to pull us into their craziness, their gaslighting psychotown. Well, you guys, so I guess the good news is try to unplug from that from time to time and talk to people with sanity. It feels so good to be around people who are sane, people who are not fearful, people who are not plugged into the lies, continuous lies. It feels completely like you're living amongst flying monkeys and the Narcissist fan club. And if you remember how that felt on your personal level dealing with a narcissist, that's how it now feels in the public square, where you're dealing with people who are still there. They may be part of the fan club, but they don't. It's because they trust the narcissist or the leaders or their mainstream media or their pundits or their I don't even know, talk show hosts, I guess, late night talk show hosts who are spieling and spinning the narcissist lies, right? They have something to gain from that. The actual flying monkeys have something to gain from doing that. Now, the fan club, I kind of think, is just along for the ride, and they trust the narcissists, they trust the leaders, and they think that these people can't possibly be that evil. And it's the same thing with when you're dealing with a narcissist on a personal level, and you try to warn family members or you're trying to warn the new supply. They just can't believe the narcissist could be that evil, right? They can't believe the narcissist would take advantage of them, would lie bold-faced to them, would manipulate them continually, would gaslight them, right? They just can't believe someone could do that. And anyway, what we're dealing with in the public square is that. And so the fan club, they support the narcissist because they just can't believe that someone could be that awful. And this is why I wanted to bring this up today, right? When a narcissist is caught in a lie. It totally reminds me of something a friend of mine who was deep, deep, deep into the CIA, worked for the CIA for 40 years, okay? 40 years. And actually was still working for the CIA when he passed away. And I remember when I was a lot younger, he would tell me, and he kind of in a joking way, and he was kind of amused by this, but he would say that the CIA's motto was deny, deflect, and make counter allegations. Yep, deny, deflect, and make counter allegations. And we're going to jump into that because that has to do with when a narcissist or a CIA agent, right? I'm sorry, I don't mean to say they're the one and the same, but when we look into at public figures right now, they sure do seem very similar. So what happens when you catch a politician in a lie? What do? They deny, they deflect, and they make counter allegations. It's the same thing, and it looks very similar to the real thing. So that's why it confuses us. It looks very similar to an honest person who tries to defend themselves. And so that's what the narcissist wants to appear like. They want to appear like an honest person. So how do you then cut through all of that to see what is the truth and what is the lie? And we're going to get into that for sure. So we're talking about happies and crappies, and I mentioned that a happy was to unplug from things and get centered, recentered, get your sanity back, get your optimism back. But a crappy is when you start to get so involved and so wrapped up in the negativity that you become like the narcissist, right? You become hateful, you become vengeful, you become without mercy, right? You're just so angry, and You don't want to become like that. So the crappy is you got to unplug, and you have to question yourself when you start to become like that, right? You want to change that behavior and that type of thinking. You don't want to become like the narcissist. So that's, the crappy that I hope you guys will learn from this week, because I'm seeing that a lot. People are catching themselves more, though, thank goodness. And they're not giving into the emotion and the frustration and the anger, self righteousness. You don't have to be self righteous when you have truth on your side. All right? You don't have to be self righteous when you have truth on your side. You have to just prove the truth. You have to come out with the evidence. And I think there's so much more of that coming out. Now, okay, we're going to jump into the topic, you guys. It's just so crazy out there. But hey, good morning, John. Good to see you. And I am blessed. Good morning to you. Says good morning from Saskatchewan, Canada. Oh, good to see you. I hope you are doing well. I mean, yep. Trudeau is one of those narcissists, by the way. He's just psycho. Excuse me while I get a cup of water. Yeah. Should have loaded up on water earlier. Here I am. When your leaders are lying to you, and it's hard to tell because they seem so sincere, right? They have a nice face, they smile, they may even be well versed. They have good vocabulary. They're very convincing. Excuse me. And it becomes hard to tell the counterfeit from the real thing. It becomes hard to tell who's being genuine and who is just completely lying and deceiving you. So what do you look at? You want to look at the actions, right? You want to look at the behavior. You want to look at their track history. You want to look at also who they hang out with, all right? Well, you guys, I'm so dry this morning. Let me have some more water. Okay. But we want to cut through the lies of the narcissist, and today I want to talk about how do we do that? How do we not go down this crazy, psycho, crazy town, right, that they have going? How do we know when they're denying, deflecting, and making counter allegations, right? And how do we know? Okay, there's a lot going on right there. What I am noticing in the public square when people are caught in a lie, and you know it's a lie, you see the proof, you see the videos leaking through, even as much censorship as there is out there, some of the truth still leaks through. You have to question, why is it that I have to seek and look so hard to find the truth, and then when I go back and try, when I see it and then I try to pull it up again, it's gone. You have to question, why are these things getting censored? It makes no sense that if they have the truth on their side, why do they have to censor? Why do they have to censor everything? And then make you believe, and for those who haven't seen it before it was censored, all they hear is that it's been disproven. Like, well, what was it before you even disproved it? Why don't you let us have the choice to see what it was and then hear your argument against it before we decide if it's disproven or not? And instead of being given that opportunity, you're just told it's disproven. You're like, what the heck? Now, also, narcissists, I don't think they're very smart. I think they're evil, but I don't think that they're all that clever. The sad part is that you get deceived by them because you're trusting, right? You get deceived by them because you have a conscience, and they will use that against you. They're going to try to play up your conscience because they have none, right? They have none. And you just can't believe that someone would have no conscience, right? So you think they couldn't possibly keep denying this, because at some point they're going to admit, right? Like you're putting the evidence right in front of their face, and like I'll say, this is a bowl of oranges, and they're like, no, it's a bowl of apples, and you're like, no, it's a bowl of oranges. Look, and you peel it, right? You even peel it in front of them, and you show them the orange slices or sections, and they'll still say, no, 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 that's an apple, right? And you're like, okay, are they dilute? You know what? You just can't even imagine someone who would continually say this to you because you're thinking, okay, they know I'm an intelligent person. They know I'm capable of seeing and thinking and deducing. Um, why would they keep saying this is an apple, right? It just confounds your mind, and that's what it's a mental trick. They're trying to get you to the point where you're trying to align it. This is the cognitive dissonance that you fall into. They're trying to get you to question because you're trying to um, justify both comments, right? You're trying to understand why they would do this, and there's no explanation other than they're evil, but they know you have a conscience, and they know you can't believe that they could be this evil, right? They have that on their side, and they will use it. I think the CIA does this a lot. They know that they can intimidate and get you to question reality if they just keep saying the lie over and over and over and over again, because they want to essentially drive you insane. And insanity, when you get to that point where you're questioning reality, then they've got you. They've got you. They can manipulate anything at this point, right? Like people, okay, let me give you this example. Like people who say that 2 plus 2 is 5, right? 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. And then they'll go on about how it's a construct of vocabulary or syntax or whatever, it's a cultural understand. No, in other cultures, 2 plus, and they'll make up statistics, by the way. They'll make up crap, science, if you will, that in other cultures, 2 plus 2 actually equals 5, right? And you'll start going, no, that can't be, right? Because if we are able to trade across borders, make financial deals and buy and sell, we have to have a common set of numbers, right? Rules about math that has to work. And here they are, they're throwing a wrench into all of that and trying to convince you that no, 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 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. And actually, people have come out and believed that lie, which is shocking, I think, to a lot of us. So they've twisted it to the point where they're like, well, it depends on what the number 4 means to you. This is the psychosis, you guys, of the narcissist. When you catch them in a lie, they will change the rules. They will change the definitions. They will change the narrative. They'll even change history to tell you, I never said that. I never did that. And you're like, no, you did. I was there. I witnessed it. And they will continue to deny, 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 deny until you think, well, how can anybody keep denying this when I know it happened? So you just can't believe somebody could keep on denying it. Then you start to question your own perspective. And once they get you questioning your own perspective, they can rewrite your perspective. This is how it works until you just you can't deal with it. Like our minds need to follow logic. Our minds need to follow reason. And even when and out there they've done this already, right? Even when the reasoning doesn't make any sense, and there's a term for this out there that's floating around for a couple of years now. It's called mental gymnastics, right? Essentially, you have to twist your mind to the point and definition of words and philosophy and your understanding of what real is, and your even math and science. You have to twist it to the point where it starts to support the narcissist narrative, because you cannot live with this irrational, illogical explanation that they're giving you. So you want to try to make it work. So you'll concede parts of reality, parts of the truth in order to make their craziness make sense. Now, that's because we have this desire to make things make sense, right? We have this desire to trust and believe that people are good. We have this desire to believe that others are like us, right? We're not so dissimilar. We should be sharing the same morals and the same care and concern about other people. But what's really happening right now in the public square is you're starting to see their facade come down. And so that's a really good thing, you guys. It's a little scary though. It's very unsettling because we're going to have to come to the conclusion in our minds that we've been played, right? And nobody wants to believe that they've been fooled, right? Nobody wants to believe that they've been deceived. And that's why it's so hard coming out of a relationship with a narcissist, because we want to believe that they cared. We want to believe that what they said they meant, right? We want to believe that how they treated us at the beginning was sincere. So, and that's why we gave them our heart or our trust or our life savings, you guys, or a key to our house. We trusted them. So when we're faced with the fact that this person was untrustworthy from the beginning and everything that you thought was real from them was a complete play, right? It was complete show to get you to believe them, to catch you, to trap you. So there's a saying out there that says it's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. And that's because everybody wants to believe that they're smart, right? Everybody wants to believe that there's goodness out there in everyone, right? They can't believe that someone would be that cruel that after they listen to your story, they listen to how much trauma you had gone through, and then they'll take advantage of you anyway. And especially using that trauma. Oh my gosh, you guys, I heard about this. I don't know if my video will get banned for this, but Como, one of the allegations against him, I was listening to this interview from one of the women, was saying that he knew that she had been molested. I mean, the R word, okay? So more than just molested. And he kept asking her, you've been R'd, right? You've been R'd. No, I won't say the R word. And I'm like, why the heck would a psycho jerk say that, right? I mean, okay, why the heck would a normal person say that? Now, a psycho jerk, yes, they would do that. They will use your trauma and take advantage of you specifically in the same way because you can't believe that they would actually do that. Like they figured this is the way to get in and get you to this emotional, vulnerable state. And once they get you to that part, then they have control over you. They can manipulate you. That's what they do. Yeah. Seeing you guys hopping on more. That's so good to see you. Yeah, I gotta change a few things here. Sorry, guys. I gotta change a couple of settings. See if I can find it. Where are you? Here we go. So I don't get phone calls in the middle of this. And I want to set up to live chat. Okay. Which doesn't then censor certain comments. So that would be good. Yeah. So we're talking about why, what do you do or what happens when a narcissist is caught in a lie? They're going to deny, they're going to deflect, and they're going to make counter allegations. They're going to double down on their lie, right? They're not going to let go of their lie. And to a normal, thinking, compassionate, moral person, we can't even fathom that someone would hold on to a lie, even when it's been exposed, right? even when you're told, you give them proof that their lie is exposed, we cannot even process in our minds. This is the cognitive dissonance and why it makes us feel so uncomfortable to keep pushing that this is the truth. I'm telling you the truth and I'm showing you the truth and you keep lying to me, and they will keep lying and lying, and they double down on their lie. They refuse to let go of their lie, and then they act as if you don't believe their lie, then you're the bad guy. Now the dissonance starts to feel more and more uncomfortable, right? It starts to make you feel like you're going out of your mind. It's illogical, and our minds want to go with logic. Our minds want to follow reason. So, and I think that's why another reason why they double down on this lie, because if they don't let go of the lie, and I think there's another part, and never admit. Yeah, they'll never admit that they did it, right? They'll never admit that they did anything wrong. Ah, just insane. So another thing they'll do too is then they'll start to deflect, right? They'll start to deflect what they did onto you. They'll project. They'll say, no, you're, okay, the biggest thing right now, oh my, I can't even get into it. This is why we feel like we're in Crazytown, because they're using all of these tactics right now in the public square. And you're like, what's the truth? I think that so many people right now are so confused. They want to believe the best of people, and they keep clinging on to that. And I think there are fewer and fewer of those, though. Thank goodness. I think that the majority of people are waking up, and there's a minority out there that's still the fan club, right? But the fan club is shrinking. The fan club to the narcissistic public figures are shrinking, and people want their freedoms. People want to go back to living normal life. People want to be able to not be oppressed, right? Not be controlled, not be told what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. And I don't think people are born wanting to be slaves, right? You're not, that's not a thing. You're born with the freedom, right? You're born, but we're trained. We get trained to stay within a box. We get trained to stay within a jail cell that they create. And then we think that's comfortable. And I think there's a few of the fan club that's out there that still cling to that. They still cling to this jail cell, these bars, the fake safe. I don't even know what to call it. Like these jail cells that the politicians have created for us, that, and then tell us you're safe here, which of course you're not. You're not at all. You're just where they want you to be, and where they can control you. I mean, all you have to do is take a look at what some of these people have been doing to the public. One of the things that comes to mind for me, and has not been talked about at all from the media, by the way, is all the surgeries, all the medical preventative care that was halted, you guys. Not even just like postponed, halted for months. Right now, a postponement might be like, okay, a week later or something like that. We got to move it a few days later. No, halted for almost a year. And of course, that people died from that. People died waiting for surgeries. People died waiting for treatment, and even preventative treatment, because the preventative treatment was considered non-essential, right? So why is the media not investigating that? Why is there like, no need to look at that? And some people might say, well, it didn't happen to a scale that's worth mentioning. And yet there are things that the media has mentioned throughout media history where what happened to one person, and they will report on that, right? So it doesn't have to happen on a grand scale for the media to investigate. And by the way, it was on a grand scale, because if all hospitals across the entire country, and probably the entire world, were halting surgeries, halting preventative care, then how can you say there couldn't have possibly been widespread events of people dying because of this? I mean, it just makes sense that people would, right? And totally would make sense that if diagnoses were not being made because people weren't allowed to go in because they were feeling this pain or they're feeling that, they hurt a certain, I can't go into it because I don't know medical stuff, but if they're having an ailment and then they're being told, well, you can't come in unless it's COVID related. You're like, what? So that means they could have high blood pressure. They could be having a stroke. They could be having pneumonia, for crying out loud, right? Although they might consider, well, then come on in, and then those people do pass away, even though they should be getting treatment. How come there's no investigative journalism? Like, journalists should be like spying on hospitals. They should be getting themselves admitted and bringing in secret cameras to see what's going on. That is the journalism I was raised with. That is the journalism I remember when I was growing up. But now, you're not allowed to question. No, if the state says this is so, then this is so, and we don't question it. But some people are starting to break rank, you guys. This is the good part. This is the good news. Some people are finally breaking rank and saying enough is enough. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just heard that there was a representative in Nevada. I could be wrong. Is it Nevada? I think it was Nevada, North Nevada, that switched parties. Now, I won't tell you which party to which party, but it's good news because they have decided to leave the elite socialist party. Yeah, I'll say it. The party that has been pushing and pushing socialism is absolutely crooked and evil. And I'm not saying that one party is better than the other, though, by the way, because there are crooks on both sides. I'm just saying that people are finally waking up to the crookedness within their own parties. And there are people within the other party that are waking up as well, by the way, and saying enough of the crooks that are in our party. We're done with it, right? So they're each getting sick and tired of the crooks within their own parties. So thank goodness for that. People are waking up. The fan club that bought into the lie, that couldn't believe that people could be this manipulative, this evil, this deceitful. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really sick of hearing falsehoods. Oh, this person told a falsehood. I'm like, they lied. You guys, they lied. If we can show nasty, disgusting videos, music videos out there of porn and all this nastiness, and yet they can't say the word lie, right? Does that make any sense to you? Like, they're censoring the word lie. Oh, only when it pertains to one party or one group of people, by the way. So you are not allowed to say the word lie. You have to say falsehood because it's gentler. I'm like, really? Do you really think people are, well, actually they are. They're that demented. This I have seen over and over again, which completely shocks me, that people act all aghast, all, offended that you should use a harsh word, which is not even a curse word, just a harsh word like stupid, right? Or pig or jerk, right? Oh, or idiot. Oh my gosh, they use this harsh word, and yet they'll listen to music that does nothing but swears through the whole thing, curses, nastiness. They watch videos of disgusting things happening on the screen. They listen to lyrics that has the F-bomb all over the place, calling women the B word and the C word and all these words, right, in the music and lyrics, and then they act like, I can't believe this person said idiot. I'm like, are you serious? That's what gets me. And these are the same people who actually even make the music, right? They act like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this other person said this word idiot or jerk. And yet in their own videos, they curse like a freaking sailor. Okay? Give me a break. It's this holier than thou behavior from completely non-Christians, by the way, right? These people. And yet they want to claim, if it suits them, that they have some kind of religion. It's a total crazy town out there. I cannot even understand how people keep following this and believing this. We have to get to the point, and I think we have, by the way. I think it's just that the media is hiding it from us. So the biggest narcissistic player right now is the media and those who work for the media. And I got to say that because how can you work for an organization that you know is suppressing the truth, that you know is lying? And not only that, but every morning you get this copy, which is the news they're supposed to read off, right? And you know what you're reading is a total lie. And yet you keep doing it because you get paid. But then you're telling people that capitalism is so bad, and yet the thing that motivates these people is money, keeping their job, right? Holding on to money and furthering their career and getting recognition and a higher salary and maybe a promotion, right? If they continue to push the lies. And then they want to keep saying that they're the good guys and that capitalism is bad. I'm just watching these people, and I think most of us have woken up to this, honestly. I think most of us have. Sadly, they're trying to reach younger and younger and younger people. They're trying to reach then now the 12-year-olds, the 13, 14-year-olds, right? Because their minds are still growing. Their minds still can't believe that people could be this horrible and could actually lie to them when they're nice to them. Like their minds can't process the disconnect there, the cognitive dissonance that this person who's being nice to them, that gives them rides to school, who gives them compliments, who essentially love bombs them. Like what we're seeing is narcissistic behavior on a grand scale. So someone who woos them, love bombs them, tells them how wonderful they are and how proud they are of them, and then they're the ones leading these kids to the slaughter. They're the ones leading these kids down a path that's going to destroy their future. And the kids just can't understand that. Now, older people, even people in their early 20s are catching on, right? They're waking up to this because their minds are a bit more mature. They're actually able to receive some of that discriminating information that's coming in. They're like, wait a minute, this is contradictory. That doesn't make sense. And now they're starting to question. So that's why it's so important for the liars, the narcissistic grand masters, if you will, that are out there, to then reach the younger and younger and younger people. It's gotten to the point where they're pushing their propaganda in children's shows. Yes, I'll say it. It's true. I've watched some of this and I'm like, what the heck? They've even talked about the George Kirby stuff. I'm going to say Kirby, you guys, because that's what Pelosi called him. Yeah, she holds these 3 funerals, state funerals for him, and she couldn't even remember his name in the same sentence where she says, "We will never forget you, George Kirby." I'm like, holy cow, she just forgot him completely right there in public. Did the media run with that? No, they didn't. They wanted to hide that. You have to question why. You have to question then who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. They always show themselves. They make mistakes like that. And that's where we come into when a narcissist does when they're caught in a lie. What do? They deny. They deflect, but they also bury it. Like they refuse to talk about it. No, we're done talking about it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And then you're left with, but no, we will talk about it because you need to admit that you were wrong or that you lied. And they'll refuse that. And then they'll just say, nope, not going to talk about it anymore. And they walk out. And you're like, what the heck? What? Like, that's not the rules. The rest of us play by normal rules of conduct with morality, with a conscience. But the narcissist does not. The narcissist rules are they live in their freaking crazy town fantasy world, and they require us to live by their rules, which are ever changing, in order to protect their lies, right? Their fantasies, their delusion, and their fraud, right? Same thing with Bernie Madoff, did the same thing, right? He required people to believe the lies that he was selling them. And if they didn't, he avoided them. you know, he wouldn't talk to them. He deflected and he avoided. This is what we are seeing on a huge scale right now. They avoid it. They won't talk about it. What happened to the nursing homes, right? Why is the media? What that never got resolved. And actually, more information started coming out. Assistance, right, came out from the nursing homes saying that we were told to change these numbers, or we were told to not release these numbers. And in fact, as some of these governors were being summoned, subpoenaed, right? The information is actually being subpoenaed and saying that you need to provide this information from these nursing homes, and they refuse to release it. Refuse. So you're thinking, wait a minute, no, that's not part of the game. That's not part of the rules. The rules are legally, when you're subpoenaed, you're supposed to show up with the information that's also being subpoenaed, right? And these people are like, no, I'm not going to show up. I mean, can you imagine the rest of us? If that happens to us, if we get subpoenaed and we don't show up, guess what? The police are going to show up at our house and arrest us. And then we're going to pay a fine on top of whatever, later on we might get found guilty of. And that doesn't happen to these narcissists. This is what we're living in right now. It's absolute crazy town, you guys. I hope that you're not, whatever side that you're on, I hope that you're going to question. Just question. Start paying attention. Start watching the real thing and not the narration, right? Don't watch edited versions. Watch the real thing. And it is an edited version if they show you only 10 seconds of a 5-hour thing. Okay, you guys? If you're watching only the 10 seconds clip of a 5-hour hearing, you're not getting the whole story. I just want to let you know that, okay? Now, but I understand, people, I'm sorry, but it's just laziness when it gets to people who say, well, I don't have time, so I'm going to trust this source, I'm going to trust this media, I'm going to trust this person. But here's the deal, narcissists are not trustworthy. Narcissists, you think, so we're falling back into that whole, well, they wouldn't really lie to us, would they? They wouldn't have the ability to push this fraud forward, would they? You just can't believe that someone in the public square, someone in media would lie to you. And yet we see it over and over again. So you guys, the video that I was recommending, and I mentioned this earlier, is called, I don't know if I can tell you guys this, but I think I did before, and someone wrote it in the comments. So I'm hoping that if we write it in the comments, then it won't get censored because they don't see the comments. Now, I'm not talking about the comments after the video. I'm talking about the live stream comments. So if you guys would, write it down in the live stream comments so others will see it. But it's called Fall of the Cabal. Cabal. All right? So if you would look that up and post that or write that, you guys, whoever is listening right now. Because if I say it again, this may be stricken out. So I've tried posting that 6 times. On the 7th time, I was able to post it. And it was just on a comment in a comment stream of another video, because I was trying to let some people who were on that video stream see, like, oh my gosh, you might want to look at this. So a friend of mine, I emailed it to her. So a friend of mine watched it, and she was just blown away. And she normally doesn't have the time to sit and watch these things, but she said, okay, I'll watch this. And she could not stop watching it. It was so well done. All the evidence that was brought out about, so many things that have been happening recently and as well as in the past. This person has done their research, and she went through, yeah, years and years, centuries actually, of what's been going on historically. But she also gives evidence of what's happening now that the media will not show us. They have stricken it. They've taken down the videos. They've taken down the pictures. They've taken down the, the evidence of what is happening out there because they don't want us to see it. So she has brought that into this. What is it? It's a documentary style report or investigation that she had done. So I would really highly recommend you look for that and try to find it. I don't think you can find it in YouTube. They will not allow that. So look elsewhere. Do searches using other search engines, right? And when you come across it, it's almost 3 hours. It's like 2 hours and I want to say like 50 something seconds. Sorry, 50 something minutes. So nearly 3 hours of this information. And then once you watch that, you're not going to be able to deny this anymore. You're not going to be able to say, well, this doesn't exist because it was out there. And it'll blow your mind. That's all I can say. It'll blow your mind. It's actually she's taken these things from articles of newspapers, articles of magazines, well-distributed magazines, even art magazines. She's taken it from documentaries done on television. She's taken it from, evidence that's out there, but she puts it all into one place so we can see it unfold. We can see it all related. So it's not this disjointed, well, you say that, but how do I know, right? So she'll say, okay, I say this, but here you go. This as reported by these actual people themselves who are now denying it. So she goes back to when they were not denying it and when they actually presented this information, but then now are denying it as if they never presented that information to start with. This is what, and it's not just narcissists, you guys, but the title of this segment today is, when a narcissist is caught in a lie. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is this is what's happening right now in the public square. They are being caught, the deceivers, the fraudsters, the liars. They are being caught in their lie. And we're watching it unfold what they do. They bury things, they deny it, they project what they've done onto you and onto the people who are accusing them, and they will distract, right? They'll bury the story. They won't talk about it. They refuse to talk about it, right? They censor it, and then they will distract with something else. They'll bring up some other very crazy thing in order, or allegations, right? Counter allegations to deflect from them and to distract from them. That is what happens. So as we're watching that happening, I really would highly recommend, yes, that's it, Jihad. Thank you for saying that. So yes, so this is at about the 48-minute mark, you guys. Go to the 48-minute mark, and which is pretty much the last statement right now. You guys will see it. That's what it's called. Look it up. It is really well done. And if you go down to the bottom after you watch that, it's on a web page. It's something like, what is it called? Unshackled Minds. I think that's the website, Unshackled Minds. And so if you guys will also type that in for me, I would appreciate it, because I cannot post it anywhere. If I try to post it anywhere, it gets stricken. It gets censored. It's not allowed. So, yeah. If you watch that video, and then you go to, after you're done watching it, go to the bottom of the page where you found that video. You'll find sequels to it. And the sequels will go into more information and more history I'm also waiting to see if they will cover more of the current stuff, but it gives you a really good understanding of how deep and how far back this goes. How far back the deception, the world leaders, how tied in they are to the corruption that's happening and unfolding before our eyes. And also, do not fall for the race baiting, you guys. Do not fall for arming yourselves against each other according to race, that is, right? Now, arm yourselves to protect yourself, I guess. A lot of people are doing that. I'm reading articles about all these different groups that are doing that. So it's not just one side that's doing that anymore. But be very careful about using that against each other. Okay, we're only in defense. Where is it that I heard? It might have been Ron Paul, who talked about our military should be there to be our defense, right? We should not be the offenders. We should not be going out and offensively attacking. The point of our military buildup was supposed to be, oh, how come my screen is so blurry? It was supposed to be to defend, right? But it's gotten to the point where it's become as an attack, and we're using it to hurt and to attack and to manipulate and push and bully and all that junk. So I'm saying the same thing on a personal level. Don't do that. Don't go after people. Don't hurt people. And in fact, the corrupt jerks that are out there they want us to be pitted against one another. Hold on, you guys. I'm going to clean this and see if that'll help. Yeah, there we go. So they want us to go after one another. And if we start to fear one another, that's where they're going to win. They're going to be able to push their agenda forward if we hurt each other, if we weaken each other. So you guys, one of my happies, and I did not talk about this earlier, one of my happies this week is that several of my friends and I, actually there were two things that happened this week, which was great. I got together with two different groups of friends, and I look around and I notice that we are like every color, every race, and almost every race, right? There are a lot of races out there, but we all got along, and we all agree, like, why the heck is the media so obsessed with race? Why are they so obsessed with melanin? And I, in each of these groups, I have friends who are like as dark as you can get, right? And they're like, they're frustrated at this. They are angered by this, and they're coming to me and to my other friends and saying, because this is the narrative that's being pushed forward, right? The darker people, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but they're the victims and everybody's against them, and there's this supremacy against them and all that. And they're coming to us almost desperate, saying, don't believe that. Don't believe those lies. They're the ones telling me that, right? And hoping that we don't believe those lies. Like, no, of course we don't believe those lies. Some of us are also darker skinned, and we're not maybe as dark, but we're part of that subgroup. And so, I think that many people who are being pit against each other are waking up to this. They not just waking up to this, but they're at the point where they want to make sure that those around them are waking up and not buying into these lies, because they know where this is headed. They know that once they can pit us against each other and fear one another, which is what's happening right now with the attacks on Asians, by the way. You know what's so ridiculous? It's always happened, by the way. It has always been existent, these attacks on Asians. And the media has never mentioned it. Like maybe in a story or two, but never shown that this is something that needs to stop. And they didn't want to bring attention to it because it makes a certain race look really bad, and it does. And this is where we have to step back and not say this entire race that's committing, because some of them are of that race are committing these crimes. then the entire race is bad. We cannot believe that. Don't believe that. Don't go with that narrative, but that's what they are pushing. They are pushing right now that that Asians should fear this race. And my Asian friends are like, no, I'm not going to do that. This is total crap. They know they're being played. But sadly, there are some out there that are being played and believe it. Just like there are darker skinned people who believe also the fake narrative that's out there, and also lighter skinned people who believe the narrative that's out there. And we have to pull together and resist the lies. Okay, we have to resist the manipulation and them trying to pit us against each other. We're all together in this. We really are. When we're against the political elitists, by the way, those are the enemy. They're the ones who are pushing. Anybody who's pushing race junk, by the way, they're the enemy. Like, we're done. We're done with that. Stop pushing it. And what's so ridiculous is that they wouldn't even get along with each other. Like, they hate each other. The ones who are pushing the race stuff, as if they're sympathetic towards other races. In fact, the other races don't want anything to do with them. It's just insane to me. It's hilarious, and it's sad, and it's frustrating. But don't throw yourself into that mix. Don't be manipulated, and don't get caught up in those lies. Well, you guys, wow, there's been a lot of conversation here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Obi, I disagree with that, because I've also seen channels where men totally bash pretty much all women, right? Like, their instinct is to go ahead and just bash all women and then say, okay, occasionally there's an exception. So that's where I don't agree with that. They're not talking about just a particular kind of woman, right? But I'm not saying like all men, okay? There are these idiots that are out there. Frost is best in world. So true. Says, I'm glad I'm not from California. Brainwashing starts when you're born there. Oh, you know what? Probably because of preschools and things like that. And I know you didn't mean it to be funny now, actually. Yeah. I know a lot of people who came out of there and left, when they were in their, early 20s, I guess. And they're fine. When they go back, they're just shocked. They're shocked at what their friends believe. They're shocked at the narrative that their friends are following, and the fear that their friends are living under. Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah, Jihad, if you can leave, leave. That's, it's sad to say, but a lot of people have left. Um, I don't know. I mean, I also believe in staying and spreading truth, trying to keep, be strong and make a stand for truth wherever you might be. Yes, Jihad, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Thank you for posting those two things, the name of the video and the website. Thank you. So pretty much that's one of the last comments here, you guys, if you will go to it and check it out. Yeah, Jihad had posted. Just looking back here, you guys, yeah, Jihad says, journalism is not the same anymore. You are not allowed to look at certain things or ask questions. Doesn't that remind you of communist states? That is exactly totalitarian fascist states. And people are like, oh, that's fine because we don't want to hear this. We don't want to see that. And it's like, okay, well, when they're done censoring this group of people that you don't want to hear from, guess who else they're going to censor? They're coming after you next. That's how it works in these totalitarian fascist states. So, you guys, keep the conversation going, keep the, discourse going. We need to share information. Again, watch that video. We need to be sharing truth out there. Stand strong, but also share kindness, share goodness. Don't fall into the anger trap and the hate trap and the fear trap. Okay? Don't do that. That's exactly what they want to do, and that's exactly how they will manipulate us. When you know something is a lie, and you guys, this is why I have said this before. When dealing with missing the narcissist, now I'm kind of going back and forth about narcissism, but when you are missing the narcissist, it's because you're believing the lies again. You're allowing yourself to fall back into the delusion. You're allowing yourself to desire and want to believe the fraud that brought you where you are. Oh, I don't know why my screen is blurry, so I'm just going to keep wiping it. That doesn't help. All right, well, I'm going to give up for now. So, you guys, when you are missing and desiring to have a narcissist back into your life, it's because you're deluding yourself, right? You're trying to convince yourself that you were wrong and they were right. You're trying to convince yourself that your perspective and your what you saw in reality, all the evidence that you saw, is not real. So what I have told people to do, and you have to do this now actually in the public square as well, is start writing down the lies that you've caught so far, right? Writing down what has happened so far. And it's like fact upon fact upon fact. And when you start, or you're tempted to believe the narcissist again, you look at this list of lies that you know they have told you, that you've caught them in, right? Their bad behavior, what they did to you, how they stole from you. So some of the lies are not just verbal, right? It's also fraud and stealing and gossiping about you, things like this that come back to you and are biting you, right? So you write down this list of all the things they had done that was horrible and awful, and you caught them in it, so that when you are tempted to believe them again, you look at this list and it snaps you back to reality. It snaps you back to your senses. And then you're able to go, no. I should not go back to trusting this person. And the same thing is happening with media. So when you are tempted to go back and trust the same person who'd been lying to you all along, and I've said this to people, okay, on this one hand, you believe that they lied to you about all these things, the media, that is, right? And now, on this other topic, you trust them completely. And I can't tell you which topics because we're being censored, you guys. Is this ridiculous that I can't tell you what exactly I'm talking about and exactly the topics, that we all had seen the media lie to us about? And then the other topic where people are now believing the media, the same media that's been lying and hiding, and they've been caught in it too, by the way. And just even recently, 60 Minutes comes to mind. Just recently, they've been caught in their lie. And what did they do? They denied. They doubled down in their lie. That's what they did. Insanity. But then people want to believe them when they say other things. Oh, I'll tell you one thing right now. Brian Williams. I was talking to a friend recently, and they're like, well, he's not anchoring anything anymore, is he? Oh, yes, he is. He used to be on CNN, and he lied about, I can't remember what it was now, if it was Iraq or Afghanistan. He was lying about being in a war zone in, I think it was Afghanistan, and having missiles going over his head or whatever being shot at. And they even had a green screen behind him to make it look like. So it wasn't like, oh, he misspoke or it was he misremembered. No, they totally set up the entire lie of a story, and he presented it. When it was found out and they showed the proof that this was indeed a green screen and you totally lied and you were not there. There's no flight log that shows that you even traveled there. There's no way for you to get there without there being a flight log documenting that you went there. And guess what? He's working at MSNBC now as an anchor. So you would think once a journalist shows themselves to completely lie, like flat out lie, as big a lie as you can possibly tell, and yet they're like, oh, well, you still have a trustworthy face, so we're going to put you on this other channel. You have to question that, you guys. You have to question that. It's total insanity out there, you guys. But anyway, sorry to leave you with that. So maybe I won't leave you with that. I'm going to give you a few minutes to wrap up your conversations. And I'm going to read a couple of this. BB Scott, good to see you. Yep. Those who wish to control us must divide and conquer. Yep. Imagine, if you will, a world controlled by psychopaths. I don't think we have to imagine it. It's there. Watch the video that Jihad just posted or wrote right above your comments. Watch that. You will see. It's absolutely horrifying. And I hope it wakes people up. I hope it wakes people up. Welcome to our world controlled by big bank business and the politicians. Politicians that are on the boards of all these businesses and banks. Yes. And go back and forth between the public and private. Absolutely, BB Scott. That is also in this video. It will tie and link and show you who's on what boards of what. And while they have, what do they call that? Conflict of interest, while they're in a public office. Or like you said, sometimes Saki actually is one of them. I hate to call her that. Her name's actually Sucky to me. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about. She has been in and out public and private stuff. So yeah, total BS. And she's like, well, I won't do my private business right now. Oh yeah? Well, it doesn't matter, because as soon as you... they're making connections now. She's not getting paid by the private people to do what she's doing now, but she's being promised that once she gets out, this is how it works. I'm not saying this actually, but actually it is. We've seen this. It's been reported. Once they get out of office, after they've already done the work of whoever wants them to do, whoever's pulling the strings, then they get offered these luxurious, cushy board memberships that, like someone's son we know about, where they pay you $50,000 a month. A month, you guys. Who gets paid $50,000 a month to sit on a board of an industry that they have no education for, no background in, no understanding of? We got to ask some questions, you guys. That's what I'm saying. So when these people are caught in a lie, what do? They deny, even though you bring the truth to the front. So what does this tell us? This tells us that we have to keep waking others up. We have to keep, getting to the point where those who are co-opted, right? And blackmail is coming out too. This is getting revealed that these people actually get blackmailed. There are good people that are out there that may be behaving badly and pushing the evil agenda, but it's because they're being blackmailed. And we're not talking about blackmailed on small things. We're talking about you will be sent to jail if we come forward with these false allegations against you and people believe that they're true. So that is what's happening. You can even look that up. That's happening to one of our politicians right now. And that is being revealed that he has been blackmailed. He actually has evidence of the blackmail. And right now the media is trying to hide that. You guys, it is absolutely psychotic out there. So I hope that you guys will share this. Definitely share that video. Email it, you guys, because they will strike it if you try to put it in a comment. Actually, even Yeah, go to any video, please. Not my channel because I have very few viewers as it is, but go to another video channel where they have lots and lots of viewers, and try to post that website that I recommended, and see what happens. See how fast your comment will be deleted completely, just disappear. So I hope you wake up and test some of these things, test what I'm saying, and see if the same thing is happening to you. Well, you guys, stay strong, stay positive. Don't fall for the lies, you guys. Don't do that. It doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter what race you are. As long as you're not a narcissist, we are on good footing, okay? Be kind to your fellow American countrymen, other people in the world, non countrymen. Be kind to each other, be kind to your neighbors, and forgive, right? Forgive people. Uh, don't be a fool and believe things, that's out there, but be kind to those who are around you because everybody needs kindness. Don't become a patsy. Don't fall for it. Don't become a flying monkey or a fan club of the evil people that are out there, the evil cabal. Um, know that you're not alone and that our numbers actually are growing. Our numbers of people waking up to this is actually growing. So, blessings to you guys. I hope to see you next week. I hope that this is somewhat helpful because you can apply this to your personal relationship with a narcissist. Know that they will deny, 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 deny. Know that they will deflect. Know that they will distract. And not only that, they will shut you off, right? They will censor you essentially and say, nope, we're not going to talk about that, and not allow you to talk about the lie you just caught them in. So what do? You either get them out of your life and start living your own life apart from them, or you just inundate them with the evidence to the point where they have to walk out. They have to leave if they want it to end. Okay, you guys, God bless you guys. I hope to see you next week. Have a great, great week. Oh, I'm seeing some of these things all the same when they are all the same people. Yeah, when someone shows you who they are, believe it. Yes, and Clifford, good to see you. Oh, you guys, we had a lot of revelation. Don't forget to go back to the comments right before the end here. So I think like 6 or 7 comments back to Jihad's the name of the video and the name of the website. Go check it out. All right, love you guys, and I will see you next week.